If you've been feeling massive changes within the earth energy, you're not alone. Because as starseeds, we incarnated here for this time of great awakening and ascension. And what is ascension? Is for us to raise the vibration within ourselves and the planet. And also part of that process is going into the downwave, is diving deep into this earth energy, right? Part of feeling the depth of that contrast into that transmutational process of alchemy is also dropping in to our bodies. Because yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but part of that process of awakening, of expanding our consciousness, is becoming centered within ourselves, becoming more present to the here and now. And I believe that that presence is the key to transmuting our suffering. Because the natural tendency to want to escape the discomfort is the coping mechanism that people can label, sometimes wrongly, as self-sabotage. But it's actually an overprotection mechanism of the ego, of the shadow, that was created earlier in life to protect us, and it is built into the ego. And it's in that protection mechanism that we can become overly defensive and contracted in our energy. And so through that, we're looking through a filter into our reality, so we're only able to experience that limited bandwidth of possibility. Yet, as we're able to become more present, we're naturally able to feel the discomfort, to feel the low wave, and naturally ride up into the higher wave. We're able to balance those energies. We're also able to give ourselves the permission to rest within that state. And then we stop stressing out over everything. It's like, yes, there's these big changes going on, but as we're able to lean in and feel this discomfort, we're able to surface the parts of ourselves that we're practicing that overprotection. And we're able to soften into surrender to beingness. So if you've been going through a time where it's like you feel like this awakening and all these intense energies, it's hard to feel at home because there's a lot of chaotic energies. But those chaotic energies are an invitation to the center of the storm. And it just reminded me of the eye of a hurricane. Remember, the hurricane is this massive force of wind that's... But within the center of that is stillness. If you go to the center of the hurricane, there's stillness. This is the eye of the storm. Within the center of ourselves, we're able to find that state of peace, of wholeness, and unity, even though these things are happening, even though these massive changes are happening. And these massive changes on the earth are part of the prophecy, if you want to call it that, or that which was seen within the collective consciousness within ancient times across many cultures all over the planet as a time of great transformation. We're in the turning of the ages. Ultimately, this is about a change within the energies of the planet. This magnetic pole shift also brings a lot of earth energies changing. And right now there's a lot of earthquakes happening. There's massive solar flares going on. And so I'm also reminded of those that are attuned to the earth changes are kind of like birds. Because how do birds know when to migrate? You know, they're not talking to each other with words like, oh, we're going to go to Hawaii today, and they all just know. Well, how do they all just know that? As human beings, we have a dormant part of ourselves within our DNA that is in a way, superhuman, or what we would think of as telepathic, what we would think of as supernatural, but it's really just supernatural, superhuman. to be that connected to the field and to be sensing, oh wow, there's these earth changes, maybe I should go over here, or maybe this is going to happen. I've been having these dreams that there's some kind of massive earth change that's going to happen. There's something that's calling me towards this new earth vision. Like I'm meant to be connected to the land. I'm meant to be creating something for future generations. I'm meant to be transforming my way of life. Yeah, that's all been downloaded. I had a vision many years ago of before this life. I was in a moon outside of the Pleiades in a past life. And the Pleiadian High Council came to me and they were showing me a holographic DNA. And they said, you're going to come to Earth and you're going to incarnate as a human. And basically your mission in this life is to activate these hidden parts of the DNA. And they were showing me all these points of light. And they said, as you did this inside of your human vessel, your human avatar, that basically what would happen is that you would activate, you know, what we call a higher vibration, or what we also call ascension. And basically you're connected to everything and everyone through the web of life or consciousness, Indra's net, the Akasha, whatever you want to call that. And every other soul is like a seed of the stars. That's kind of like where this whole thing originated from, this starseed concept. Like, yes, there's the whole, you know, alien version of this strand of conversation, but then there's also the idea that everyone is a starseed because you are a seed of the star, of the light of consciousness, as a soul who is not just this one lifetime. There's a continuity. And within that seed, the reason it's a seed is because it contains a blueprint. Like, how does an acorn know how to become an oak tree? How does your soul know how to become your true self? So once you stop playing the game of your not self, through integrating the ego rather than denying it, through feeling the things instead of suppressing them, by having the courage to live from your heart, access the higher vision for your life, and ground it into form and take inspired action towards that, naturally you do, because the law of assumption being that version of yourself. And there's other videos on my channel about the law of assumption. What does that mean? It's about feeling it into being by allowing yourself the permission to already be that, by feeling that version of yourself into being and changing the subconscious programs that are running in the background, because you are more than just this one, you know, identity. You are a stream of consciousness experiencing different identities across the reel of your life, and sometimes people call those timelines. So back to the DNA thing, as we activate these, you could call them codes within the DNA, what they showed me is that in this lifetime, that would then ripple out into the collective. And then every person that I would come into contact with, that would also help to activate that within them just through the way of being. And so that is what starseeds have come here to do, is to embody a new way of being in harmony with the nature, connected to source, spirit, the all that is, whatever you like to name that force, and to be in alignment with a new way of life. So if you're feeling these earth changes going on, like I said, it's part of this, you know, the turning of the worlds. If you are receiving guidance from other beings like Pleiadians, you know, if you are experiencing ascension symptoms that are related to this shift is going on. You're not crazy. This is just an expanded level of being connected to the universal field of consciousness. And so information can come to us not just through our physical senses, but through our body as a compass, and through our intuition being more and more activated at this time. And this is part of what the indigenous called the Great Purification. And it has many different names, but essentially a time when there would be a timeline split. Those who are not living in harmony with nature, and those who, are on this timeline of co-creating in harmony with nature. Part of this shift is also being in tune with Gaia, with earth energy, dropping in to our own connection also to earth energy, and living not so much in the head, but in the heart. And also dropping in to the feet, to the lower chakras, because that is where the alchemical fire lives. And by the ability to feel the discomfort of these sensations, to move through these ascension symptoms, to integrate the ego, we are able to align with our highest timeline. We're able to move into the new earth and co-create it, you could say, embody it in another way, and also to externalize the vision. And this is why many of us, have these visions of like dome homes made of mushrooms and healing technology and free energy and, getting back to nature. If there's something that you feel called to do at this time, it's part of your blueprint. If it even feels a little bit scary, it's like totally an edge, it's totally an unknown, we can lean into that and allow the guidance of spirit to really start to come through. Because as we go through these processes of clearing the channel and integrating the shadow, working through the subconscious patterns, working through the blocks of energy, we open up to more flow. And when we open up to more flow, we open up to more ease. When we open up to more ease, we're not in that state of defensiveness. We're in a state of receptivity. And this state of receptivity is also directly connected to our ability to receive higher information and guidance in our life. So all of these things kind of weave together. It's like, there's these massive planetary energies and solar flares. Well, those solar flares are also connected to changes on the planet. Those changes on the planet are also connected to changes that are going on inside of ourself. And the light from the sun is also activating our DNA. It's also putting us through a kind of pressure cooker of transformation. And then you've got the personal level of this process of, what is my true north? Where is my inner compass guiding me? So it's expanding our perspective that we're not just these separate humans, because we're not. We're connected to everything, just like the birds are connected to the movements of the wind. So how do the birds know when to migrate? The same way that you do. So thanks for tuning in, and many blessings on your journey.